Welcome to Intersection Chats. I am Reme Mancera, a personal brand story strategist, and I am here today with Aleksandra to talk about the intersection between personal brand story and systems. Thank you for being here, Aleksandra. So happy to that you accepted this invitation. Welcome.
Hi. Uh, Hi, I'm Aleksandra Badea, and I am system strategist. I am online business manager, and I help founders. I help teams save time and streamline their backend operations, and I do it with tech, automation, AI systems, of course, and personal efficiency. Thank you so much for having me, Remy.
Thank you. So looking forward to this conversation. And yeah, let's start with your own experience when you are working with clients, how you see that intersection happening between personal brand story and systems.
Mhm. Yeah, so you know, I can see personal brand story as the like soul of the business, and systems are the structure that allows this soul to be visible, to be consistent, and sustainable, of course,
Mhm.
because you can have the most powerful story, but without systems, it's such a struggle to show up consistently and to share this story,
Mhm.
especially when you have a busy life or like you're a mother, for example.
Mhm.
I work with a lot of mothers who like their life is, like they are juggling a lot of things, family, kids, and also like business owners generally juggle a lot of things. And they really want to show up and they want to share their story, but they just struggle with time. And when we put the systems in place, it's so much easier. And just to share, example with you, one of my clients created the full course just by recording voice notes when she was dropping her daughter to nursery. She
Mm.
had like the story, she had the knowledge, insights. She didn't have time, but she figured out the time, and she created something really powerful from this. So yeah, that's how I say it. Like systems are the structure that lets your business be shown consistently,
Mhm.
and exactly like you to show up who you are.
Mm. I love that example because it's not about one specific formula that is for everyone. It's like finding what is your lifestyle, what is your capacity, what is going on in your life, and how to make it okay. Here, I have this space where I can do it, how we can put a system in place where we can actually convert that work into something that is valuable for her audience and so on. So I love that.
Mhm.
In my case, I feel like systems are so integrate in several aspects of how I work around stories, and it's like, yeah, for identifying, helping my clients identifying their personal brand stories, and you know that because we have worked together, is like there is a process, there is a system that I follow for doing that in a way that makes sense for both of us. And then of course when you have your set of stories, how you organize them to go and have the clarity to know which one to use and how to do it. So having that not just for you, but maybe you have a team that they can access to that information. Maybe you have a copywriter that is going to help you with the copy of your website. So having access to that
Mhm.
set of stories, that's something that you don't need to repeat yourself every time. You can have something in place that they can go and use as a reference. And then, of course, as you mentioned, like the idea of repurposing content as a system, which is a system that you can create for
Yeah,
whenever you create something, you can then change the format or make some adjustments to also put that into action.
yeah,
And I feel like there is like sometimes a misconception about what is a system and how complicated need to be a system. I would love to know your thoughts on that as well.
yeah. So, like, first of all, I just need to say that your story connections are actually a great way of systemizing sharing your personal brand story. I went through this, right, like through your service, and like it helped me a lot because it's exactly the structured way, like of pick and choose where to use specific elements of my personal brand. So I just need to say like this, that
Thank you.
you perfectly systemize, like combined systems and personal branding. Yeah, and when it comes to your question about the system, like
Mm.
we often overcomplicate this because we think like it needs to be something like really complex and so on, but it can be really simple. It's just the steps, one by one, of for the things that you are doing for a task, for example, what you do first, what you do second, what you do third, and you have system. So it's really not about overcomplicating it. It's about just seeing what works, what list of steps give you the specific result. And then of course we can simplify, we can streamline, we can automate specific steps and so on. But I always say start simple and just
Mm.
say step by step what you're doing, so this is already the system.
Yeah, I love that approach because I feel like then when you have the clarity on the basics, then you can optimize parts of the process and make how an experiment if you want to do something and make some changes, but having the base is so
Mhm.
powerful that then you can um, do more things with that. And I feel that's kind of similar with the stories in the sense of having clarity in the foundations, like these main stories that you want to share, and then you can see, okay, how I can combine them, how
Mhm.
I articulate them and practice them to share in a different way and so on. But this process of like starting simple and then optimizing and then simplifying, streamline. So I feel that there is another way of connecting there our topics as well.
And what is very important is writing things down, because
Mm.
if we maybe we have it in our head how it looks like, but then when we write it down, actually document it, we can see it clearly. And that's like also like very first step when when I start with systems. um, I tell a business owner, just do this task, turn on your screen sharing app, do this task, but exactly explain what you're doing. So
Mhm.
it's not just clicking and not saying anything, because I got this kind of videos as well, but it's saying exactly, okay, I choose this option because this and this.
Mm.
If it would be this, I would choose this option, and so on. And then what I do, I put it to, like, I take the transcript of this video, I put it
Mhm.
to ChatGPT, and it creates me the step by step from this. And then
Mm.
I can actually see what are the steps and what is still missing, and then there is a process of optimizing, streamlining, and so on. But yeah,
Mm.
like documenting the first thing, and the same with stories, right? We need to document them to be, maybe we are, we know that the stories are inside us, but they are that we are not really aware of them and how to connect them with our business values, what we want to achieve, and so on. So yeah.
Mm. Yeah, and I feel that somehow also is connected to when, at least that's my experience. I will not, I would love to know your thoughts. When someone goes to work around their personal brand story, around optimizes their systems, I feel that they are somehow a bit in a more advanced stage, if you will, in the sense of they really have a better understanding of how they are running their business, how they are putting the processes together, and how they want to get clarity on their messaging, and they feel the need of, okay, I would like some help to do this in a more effective way, if you will, because it's like I can try to do by myself, but getting someone helping me with this external point of view will be valuable. And I feel that both bringing someone in this strategy for the system and for the operations, and looking for someone helping in the personal brand story, I feel that that could be also a sign that the business is already a bit more advanced in that sense. What are your thoughts on that?
You know, I had both cases because I had business owners who were starting out and they wanted to have the, the backend that is supporting their
Nice.
growing. But yes, like most often, it's about the business owners and companies who are already, making money, having clients, and so on. And then they want to optimize. But the level of, processes systems there like really varies because some of the companies have this really well laid out, and you ask the business owners about this specific process, and you have the process and you can see, like these are the steps we can out, like it's easier to see. And in some businesses it's just in the business owner or team member head. So
Mm,
you just you just need to ask them first to document them to be able to see what is happening in the business. So yeah, like it can be both ways, but I feel that it's needed in both, like in when you're starting, but it's a different kind of level of this, and when you're like more advanced. And the first step is always seeing what is there, like what is there actually. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and I agree that this is helpful for anyone. And if even if you are one person business and you are just starting out, getting clarity on the systems that you have in place and how being aware of what is going on in your business, I feel that this is so valuable and it's getting you ready for like incorporating someone to your business. Can be a team member, can be just
Mhm.
hiring someone and so on. I feel the same. I just was curious if it's
Mhm.
like usually it's more people a bit more advanced, the people that are you working with them, because they are a bit more conscious, if you will, about how this is valuable for them.
Yeah, because specific setup can take you to some place, when you are having clients, when you have the consistent revenue coming in, and then you just feel you're at capacity and you are doing a lot of things manually. You just need, probably sometimes you need to hire the virtual assistant, then you're hiring the virtual assistant, and it becomes one less issue, I would say, because you need to, explain them everything. You don't have time for this, so you prefer to do it on your own. And that is the moment when systems are, crucial, because when you don't have like the documentation to give them of how you want things to be done, then you won't be happy with the work with this virtual assistant, and you will probably just, fire them, right? Like part ways, because it won't be really helpful for you. So
Mm.
yeah. But how do you feel, because when it comes to stories, is it more for, like starting businesses, or for more advanced to kind of combine, their stories with what they offer and where they are going?
Usually, I work a lot with people that somehow they are pivoting or transition in their business. So they
Mhm.
have been in business, they know their style of communication, they know how they know to get clients, to put out their offers and so on. But they are in a moment where they have the lack of clarity on how use that story to amplify this new offering or
Mhm.
to reposition themselves in a new niche and so on. So that's usually the people that I work with. I feel that when it's at the early beginning of your business, you first will have a basic version of things, but then with the experience working with
Mhm.
people and getting like more clarity on what is your process, what is your way of working, what is different in your way of working and so on. So
Mhm.
I feel that when you are just in the early beginning, you will need to it will be useful for you to have a brief story, but then doing a process more like in depth makes more sense when you have tried your offer with people, you have get feedback, you have make optimization in those processes, and then now you have a bit of more information if you to make some decisions based on that, and then you have clarity on what are the benefits of that you want to highlight from your offer, what are the key factors, and of course we will work together to identify those moments from
Mhm.
your journey that will help you to highlight that. But in my approach, because it's so based in strategy and focus on how make the story connected to your offer, connected to the people that you are talking to, you need to have some clarity on that for that to be more effective. Of course,
Mhm.
when I work with clients, they told me that through the process they are getting more clarity because they need to answer this question and they need to think about this. So the process itself is making you like identify certain things, define certain things. But I have the impression that people in a bit of more advanced, if you will, they will get more benefit because of that, because they have information from working with clients, getting in front of audiences, see what
Mhm.
resonates, see what not, and so on.
Mhm.
And I wanted to also mention how, in my experience, those who have systems in place in their business, they have the capacity to focus more on the strategy, on the long term goals, and they don't need to be just focused on the daily little tasks that give you a lot of time, a lot of overwhelm. So I
Mhm.
feel that this, when a business has a system in place, is also giving them the space to work in certain things that are even more impactful. But when you have to be in the little tasks of every day, that will help, that will take out time for doing other stuff that is more long term. What has been your experience into that?
Yeah, definitely. Having systems in place lets you focus on the things that are like sales activities, right? Growing your business. And you mentioned before the repurposing content
Hmm.
system. And I was teaching this to my clients because we are creating from one long form content piece. You can create 10 plus content pieces, like smaller ones. And this works like this, that, for example, my client shares a voice note,
Hmm.
5-minute voice notes, what happened like to her in a day, and connecting this with how it translates for her business or anything like this. And then having this, we can create a lot. We can create a carousel post for Instagram sharing her insights. We can create the b-roll, the reel on Instagram with specific, sentence for what she said. We can create the post for with quote, right? We can create the intro for the newsletter or the full newsletter. We can look through the lenses of when we have this voice note to ask ourselves the question, okay, what mistakes people are doing when it comes to these things that she shared, and share we have another content piece, right? And yeah, like mini post story, Instagram stories, like all of these things. And what is great is that these things can be, streamlined, some of them automated, semi-automated. And we have business owner who shared 5-minute voice note, and it's translated into 1 week of content, right?
Mm.
And it's her, because it's her story, it's how she wants to show up. But it's even the team that can make it happen, you know. And I like, another example is the b-roll storage system. uh, when you have the, like, we have the moments in our day that we want to share this because this is who we are, how we run our business, and the values, and uh, what I have, and many people I work with like have this as well, is the Google Drive with the storage videos and photos to be used online right? And they are divided into categories. So I have, for example, category for me working at the laptop, at the computer, right? And I have a lot of videos, photos like me working, you know. Then I have travel alone. I have travel with my family. I have events and lifestyle personal moments when I'm like drinking coffee or I don't know, going for a walk. And I have also the surroundings. So when I go somewhere and I just record without me on the
Mm-hmm.
camera, but I just record, like it's good for B-roll for Instagram. And I have all this in specific folders.
Mm-hmm.
So when a business owner, me myself, myself, when I don't feel camera ready, I just don't feel like showing up, like recording something. I just pick something from the specific folder, and it's so much easier because it's
Mm-hmm.
ready. And if you're working with a team member, it's you say to this team member, like, please create a reel, choose the something like video from lifestyle moments fitting this music or like fitting this message, and make sure that you don't share something that was shared like for the past month. And
Mm-hmm.
then it's something clear, right? It's
Yeah.
not thinking, okay, what should I share, or sharing just create a reel, because this person, they don't really know, they are not sitting in your head. But it just helps a lot with organization, and it's just one more one thing from your head, to focus on, like that you can show up online without like recording all the time.
Mm, absolutely. And I love how you bring us specific examples because it's like sometimes when we talk about repurposing, maybe people don't really can see like, okay, what I mean with that. So I love that you bring exactly like how you can multiply one piece of content from a client. And then also this idea of the B-roll, I really like that because it's then you have this assets for your business and then you can combine them and create these
Mhm.
pieces of content. I work a lot with people that they go to podcasts as a guest and I
Mhm.
always invite them to use specifically the parts where they are sharing their stories, but even other parts of the appearances that they can use for creating new pieces of content in the sense not just social media but as you say newsletter, another type of creation, right? So I feel the same and I use this analogy of share it, shape it and shake it.
Mhm.
Share it when you are a podcast guest and how you share that piece of content. Maybe use specifically parts where you are talking about story or talking a benefit of your offer, and then highlight that in the text with the story. So you are bringing the storytelling there with that piece of content that you were already doing that interview. So why not using that? Then shape it in the sense that you can create different formats. So maybe that was a podcast interview. You can create a newsletter with parts of those, or you can using LinkedIn as opposed of text with one of these images that from the B-roll that you might have. And then check it is to create something new, but based on that appearance that you have. Maybe during the podcast interview, you mention one of your systems or something from your approach. Then maybe you can create a piece of content with that as the like the trigger for creating that bigger piece, going deeper in one point. Sometimes we, based on the conversation, you think of something new, and that can again bring you some new ideas. So maybe combining pieces of content that you have been in several podcasts, and then you combine and create something as a mix. So the idea to what you have done, how you can repurpose in a way that that time that you were there doing that, how you can get the most out of it, and how you can use it to highlight those moments or those important points from your approach, what makes your way of working different and what can be interesting for people to know for deciding, okay, yeah, I want to work with Aleksandra. I like her way of thinking, I like her structure and so on. So that's something that can be, you don't need to create all the time new things. you can use what you have. So I love that you bring specific examples on how to do that with your content.
Yeah, I really agree. Like podcast episodes, the videos that you're making, these are the gold mine of content, really. And if you know how to uh, repurpose this, as you said, and create uh, multiple pieces of content, and also look through specific lenses, like
Mm.
you have even more ideas. So yeah, this is really important. And I have, like even when you want to share something like personal stories and so on, and you don't know what to use, want what to share, I have this kind of system that I call it story mining system,
Okay.
and it's a really short weekly 5 to 10 minutes ritual that you're asking yourself two questions, and this helps you notice how like this moments in your life, what moments in your life you can share. So the first question was about what happened this week that my audience would benefit from hearing, and the second one was about what moments of this week show up my values, show
Hmm.
my values or the way I want to show up. And there can be like really small things that happened, and you would never think about connecting it to the anecdote or like something that you do at work. But it's so, like I remember my own personal story that I connected. It was about my daughter. She had some kind of prom in the kindergarten, and it was about where giving them the costumes that are the fruits or vegetables. And I absolutely didn't think about this. I did it on the last moment. I ordered something from the shop, and it came and it was awful. It was like with, with holes, and it was the material quality awful, and it was too big and so on. So I just gave her that t-shirt with strawberry or something like this. And she went like this. And then when I picked her up from the kindergarten, she said, like, Mommy, everyone was dressed and I was the only one that didn't have anything. And yeah, this was the moment, that like it was hard. It was like the business owner moment of guilt. And I transformed this into the story. I shared this moment with my audience, and I said what I did, what system I implemented, so that it never happens again. So
Mm.
I, because at the beginning of the month we get the message from the kindergarten about all the events happening,
Hmm.
and I missed this message. But right now, every beginning of the month, I have reminder in my phone to check this. I'm checking this with my calendar open, and then I'm saying, okay, this day you need to bring, I don't know, fruit to the kindergarten. I'm writing like day before reminder, fruit to the kindergarten, and I'm preparing this the day before. When it comes to this kind of costumes, I put the reminders, the task for 2 weeks before, to make sure I make it. So this kind of personal story moment, you know, it's just I connected this with how I handled as a system strategist with this. So yeah, it's really important um, to share these personal moments, and and systems like the way how you do this really help with this.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel that those stories can help you to connect with your audience so they feel relatable and they see how also it's a way to show your way of thinking, because yeah, that happened and then I'm getting a lesson and I'm making sure that there is not I am getting a lesson and taking action to avoid that this happen again. So even sharing that is showing how your brains work and how that's also that will apply also is valuable for your clients as well, because that's your way of thinking of how I can optimize this process, how I can do this, avoiding mistakes or avoid cost of opportunities in the case of a business and so on. So I feel that this is an example of how a little story can show how is your way of working. It can show what is important to you, why this is something that can relate to them and they can feel connection and so on. So I really like, and it's also a moment where you are sharing you are a human and sometimes you want to do things in a way but things doesn't happen in that way, and how you react to things that doesn't go as you want, because that's going to happen in a business relationship sometimes. So that's also something else, right?
We are all humans, and even if social media sometimes shows only the ideal parts of our lives, we have our struggles, we have harder moments, and so on. And I feel it's good to share it because it's like it's relatable, and it's even like, people see it and like, wow, she looks so good on the paper, but she's also human. So these kind of things really connect people to yourself,
Mm.
to you. And it's really important to capture these moments, these story ideas. And of course, I have the system for this because there are so many stories that I missed, they just disappeared because I forgot about them, because I didn't capture them. And uh, right now, I have like some people get their best ideas when they are cooking or shopping, like walking in the park. I get them when I'm going to sleep. I'm lying in the bed, at night, and I get them. So when I was just falling asleep, I just didn't want to get my phone and type something, not to get awake again. And I figured out that I have something. I have the widget of the app. It's here, and
Mhm.
I just click in it. It's literally app. I click in it and I say something. I don't need to type. Like, I say something, it transcribes this to the text, and then every week I have the task to move my ideas to the content ideas section in Asana. And it's just about making it work for you, because some people will need, again, like this kind of app because they are, shopping and they have the idea, but it's something that works for you. Make sure that the stories are not disappearing because they are really valuable, right?
Mm. I love that you share with us these, and even the specific tools on how you are doing, because I feel that this really interesting process to have every week having these two questions that you go through there and you make sure that you don't forget, but then also going to the technical part, how to make as easy as possible for you, knowing where is your moment where you will get these ideas and how to make this as easy as possible. So I feel that that's something else as well. It's like helping you to do that, knowing what are your circumstances, when is the time that is going to happen, what you want to avoid, because you don't want to go and then start scrolling in any app or something. So I feel like this again, and maybe looks like a little example, but it's showing as well like how you optimize the processes and take into account like what are your circumstances, what works better for you, and how to make it in a way that works for you. And I feel that's key in systems. So thank you for sharing that approach. And something before we finish that I want to also mention is how, for me, I feel like it's really important the communication with the people that are helping you with the systems. And I feel that sometimes even using your story and your yeah, your storytelling and the stories of your journey as a way to show your values can be something that can also help not just with potential clients but inside your team, with people that are working with you, to really understand why you are doing what you do, why it's important, how you approach things, what is like the best way to do things for you, and so on. So I feel that even using storytelling in the inside community with the people that you work with can be so powerful for them to have the context of why this specific thing that you do in a way is important for you, and so on. What has been your experience?
I absolutely agree with this because working as a system strategist, someone's personal story can show me their values
Mm-hmm.
and their values, their identity, what they think about specific things. And that is helping me a lot, when it comes to building their operations, designing their systems, and so on. And, like people who value calm, we will simplify their business.
Yeah.
Those who value speed, we will automate. For
Mm.
people who are creatives, we are giving the systems that are more, with some room to play, because in creative business a lot is changing like quickly, so we
Mm-hmm.
don't want to put like rigid systems and so on. It just needs to be the room for improvement, for change, and so on. And even, when I am sharing my personal story, my top values are freedom and flexibility, and I naturally attract the clients who value the same. I don't work with this hustle business owners anymore, because I they just my marketing doesn't appeal to them, because I
Mm.
share calm, I share relief, time with my family, this kind of things. So yeah, like for the team, it's also very important, like to know why you're doing what you're doing, how you
Mm.
want this to be done, and
Yeah.
when you share your values. So I absolutely agree that this is really important.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel that sometimes we of course we talk a lot about our audiences, but it's also really important to share that parts of our story with the people that we work with, even if it's a temporary thing that is someone helping you with a certain things. It's going to help them to understand and being able to help you in a better way, in my opinion.
Even even in teams in corporate, they
Mm.
have this kind of work with me document where they are sharing who they are, what they value, how they want to communicate, what tools, like what are the patterns. So like when I need to focus, I can't see the Slack or something like this.
Mm.
So, and that's helping people, teams, like communicate. So yeah, for business owners, the same.
Mm, yeah. So before we finish, I don't know if we have, because we have more things to talk about, but for not making this like more like longer, there is something that we haven't mentioned and you feel is important for people listening to think about.
Mm, No, I think we mentioned a lot of things,
Okay.
important things. I don't have anything um,
Okay.
like
Nice.
this.
Yeah, I would say going back to the idea that you would share at the beginning of going back to the like start simple. I feel that that could
Mhm.
be something to as a reminder to each of us, because sometimes we
Yes,
complicate things and we go, it's like, okay, how I can simplify this and make things easier
yeah,
for me.
and also, and also know how you are sharing your story. It's I know that it's by systems, right? But by the list of steps, you
Mm.
will do this, and then this, so it's easier for you to show up consistently.
Yeah, love that. So, okay, final question is like, how would you summarize the connection between personal brand story and systems in 1 to 3 words?
Mhm. Yeah, I need to admit that I was thinking about this before the interview, and what I came out with is identity,
Mm-hmm.
structure, and sustainability. Because
Mm,
identity is your story, it's your personal brand. Then systems are the structure, and it all, when they are both combined, it it means that your business will be more sustainable, right?
mm.
So that's what I came up with.
I really like that. Thank you. For me, I was thinking as well, and I came up with this idea of optimizing your resources, because I feel like as well that you are using the system for optimizing what you have and what you have in place, using your personal brand story to highlight the benefits of your business is also somehow like using your resources that could be your own stories, to build that connection, to build the trust. So I feel that this idea of, okay, what are the assets that I have for my business and how I make the most out of it. So I feel those both can be connected there as well.
I love that.
Thank you. Okay, so we are going to make sure that the links are there, but I know that you are also have some resources that can be useful for people, some tools that can be useful for them. So please tell us how people can learn more about what you do and how you help others.
Yeah, so I'm most active on LinkedIn when I share stories and connecting this with systems. And I have my own newsletter where you get every week the step-by-step system and my freebie, which is 7 time saving tools for business owners. And it highlights like step by step how you can use them, how to set them up. So I think it will be very useful.
Nice. So we will have the links there. We will also mention in the comments what has been the tool that you mentioned about the
Mhm.
app for people if they want to check it out, because they might like to incorporate that idea to themselves. Yeah. So thank you so much, Alexandra. This has been really nice to have this conversation. I love that you bring a lot of examples and specific practical insights that we can put in place. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Reme. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. So, for everyone watching live or the replay, so stay tuned.